Closing time at the cafe. Discover the incredible life-changing moment with a billionaire CEO. Jack's Cafe felt like the heartbeat of Maple Creek, its walls filled with laughter, stories, and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Every morning was a ritual. As the sun broke over the horizon, he'd rise before dawn, his hands expertly crafting the perfect pour. The sound of the espresso machine hissing was music to his ears, the jingle of the bell above the door signaling an old friends and new patrons alike. Yet tonight, as Jack flipped the closed sign, he felt heavier than the rich darkness of night. The bills piled up like snowdrifts outside, threatening to bury the family legacy his parents had built. He looked around the cafe, locals' pictures hung on the walls. Children's drawings adorned the fridge, and every corner held a memory. But just as he was about to lock up, the cafe door swung open with a jingle, and in walked an unexpected figure. Tall and imposing, the billionaire cut through the air like a knife, dressed in a tailored suit that screamed wealth and power. Jack felt a knot tighten in his chest. He was worlds apart from this man, whose demeanor radiated an authority Jack had only ever seen on television. Tension hung thick in the air as they locked eyes, the clash of their statuses palpable. "I need a coffee," the CEO said directly, a hint of impatience woven into his voice. Jack's instincts flared. "Sorry, pal, we're closing." Their misunderstanding ignited a spark between them. Jack's irritation clashed with the CEO's entitlement. But as their conversation twisted and turned, vulnerability began to seep through. Jack spoke passionately about his childhood, helping his mom bake muffins, the joy of serving his friends after school, the pride it brought his family. He saw the CEO's expression shift, curiosity mingling with defensiveness. "I didn't choose my path either," the CEO confessed. "My parents pushed me away to meet their expectations." "You think the suit makes me happy?" A flicker of sadness crossed his face. Jack's heart softened. They were both trapped, just in different castles. Behind the glitz and glamour sat an empty chair at the dinner table. Before they could dive deeper, there was a commotion outside. A gathering crowd, assorted voices, a meeting was underway about the local park-facing closure. Jack felt a surge of determination. He knew his cafe was the soul of the community. They could rally together, but he needed help. Just then, the CEO met his gaze. "Can we make a difference?" "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Jack's resolve hardened. "It's not just a park to us. It's a piece of home." They both felt the weight of their backgrounds threatening to pull them apart. Yet here stood the chance for something genuine, something transformational. As the cafe buzzed with life, community members voiced their willingness to stand together. Jack realized this was bigger than him, bigger than either of them. But could their differing worlds unite for a common cause? Time was ticking, the town council meeting loomed, and the stakes couldn't be higher. In that dimly lit cafe, two lives collided, a reflection of struggle and hope hung heavy in the air. Could they forge a partnership that defied the odds, or would their paths pull them into a chasm too wide to bridge? The cafe stood resilient yet trembling, their fate intertwined in the upcoming meeting that would redefine what it meant to truly belong. The sound of raised voices drifted through the cafe as the crowd sizzled with urgency. Jack felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He couldn't let the park, the place where children laughed and families gathered, slip into the past. It was more than just green space. It was the heart of Maple Creek. With a quick glance at the CEO, Jack summoned the courage he needed. "We have to be louder than their voices," he said, determination ringing in his tone. The CEO nodded, an unexpected glimmer of commitment in his eyes. "Let us get the cafe involved," the CEO replied, A newfound fire ignited within him. You have a community behind you. We can use that. Jack's heart raced as he turned to the group, starting to fill the cafe. Everyone, he called, his voice unsteady yet charged with passion. We need to show up at that meeting. We need to let them know that the park is too important to lose. Whispers turned to murmurs, and murmurs grew into a chorus of agreement. People began to shout about how the park had served as the host for weddings, picnics, and countless memories for families. Jack felt a rush of warmth. This was the spirit he had fought for all along. "Count me in," shouted Mrs. Turner, a retired teacher who had taught many of the children now playing in the park. "I'm in too," added a local business owner, his eyes alight with passion. As support blossomed. Jack glanced sideways at the CEO, who was now actively engaging with people, his powerful presence melting barriers. He was asking questions, listening intently. It was as if they were forging a bridge in real time, two different lives coming together for a common purpose. "I never thought I'd be part of something like this," the CEO spoke, the humility in his voice surprising to Jack. "But this feels right." Hours passed, and the cafe filled with energy. Ideas flew around like sparks, plans materializing into a focused battle plan for the impending council meeting. Jack started to believe they could really make a difference. "Let me grab some flyers," he suggested when someone mentioned their need to raise awareness. As he turned to reach for the supplies behind the counter, the familiar weight of worry returned. What if this sudden burst of hope turned out to be just that a moment of excitement that would fizzle away? "Hey, Jack," the CEO's voice interrupted his spiral of doubt. "You've got this," he assured, almost as if he could read Jack's mind. "You're not alone in this fight." As Jack faced him, he felt a growing respect for the man in the tailored suit. Behind the stern exterior lay someone who understood the weight of expectations, who turned to help instead of flee. With the flyers in hand, Jack gathered the community once more. "This isn't just about the park," he emphasized. "This is about all of us. Our voices matter." Hope flickered in each eye he met, igniting Jack's spirit. Together, they strategized how they would show up at the meeting, how they would be loud enough to be heard, and how they would stand firm against the tide of indifference. As the gathering began to disperse, Jack felt a surge of pride. For the first time in a long while, he believed in something greater. But as he gazed at the CEO, who was now catching a breather at the corner table, a nagging question lingered: could they really take on the powers of the council and win? The next day would come too fast, bringing a meeting that could change everything. Would their efforts in the cafe turn into a real movement? Jack's heart pounded with the urgency of possibility. Tomorrow could mark the dawn of something new, or the end of what they cherished. As the cafe emptied, Jack locked eyes with the CEO once more, a mix of apprehension and determination in the air. "Let us do this," he finally said, clenching his fist. The CEO grinned, but just as Jack felt hope bloom, the cafe door swung open, revealing a shadowy figure standing outside, a stranger, holding a thick envelope with the town seal. Jack felt his stomach drop. "What now?" The door creaked as the stranger stepped inside, the draft sweeping through the cafe and rustling the last pages of the flyers on the table. Jack's heart raced, the anticipation hanging thick in the air. The stranger was dressed in a long coat, a hood partially shadowing their face. With deliberate steps, they approached the counter, the envelope held tightly in one hand. "What is that?" Jack thought, taking a step forward, his instinct propelling him closer. The murmur of the cafe had quieted, curiosity draping over the room like a heavy blanket. "Excuse me," Jack ventured, trying to fill the silence. "Can we help you?" The strangers slowly lifted their head, revealing a youthful face, yet weariness lingered in their eyes. "I have a message from the council." Their voice was steady, but a tremor hinted at the weight of their task. "About the park." The room tensed as the community's hope leaned in. Jack's pulse quickened, the atmosphere thick with expectation. He shot a quick glance at the CEO, who had stepped forward, intrigued. Jack could see that shimmer of determination still lingering there. "Go on," the CEO urged softly, his voice calm and encouraging. With a deep breath, the stranger continued. The council's meeting is more than just about future plans for the park. They want to rezone the area, and this envelope contains specifics on what's at stake. Their hand trembled slightly as they extended the envelope towards Jack. Jack hesitated, but then reached for it. His fingers brushed against the cool paper, feeling the seal pressing into his skin like the weight of the world. It was more than just a letter. It was the potential crumbling of everything he held dear. He tore it open swiftly and unfolded the document. Words swam before his eyes, details on the proposed zoning changes, maps that erased beloved swathes of green, plans to build commercial outlets. Jack felt each word punch him in the gut. Tonight, they had a battle ahead. His finger traced the lines as disbelief morphed into anger. "This can't happen," he whispered, but the words came out fierce, charged with hope. "Not without a fight." Mrs. Turner stepped up beside him, her eyes wide in realization. "We have to gather as many people as we can. If they think they can shove this through without hearing us, they're wrong." The cafe buzzed with renewed energy, each person chipping in, voices mingling, creating a wall of determination. The CEO tapped Jack's shoulder. "Let us get this information out. We'll make it impossible for them to ignore us." As they rallied together, overlapping plans, setting up meetings, and drafting letters, Jack felt solace amidst the chaos. But there was still something in the pit of his stomach, a nagging sensation that wouldn't let him breathe easy. The stranger's eyes flickered with something deeper, almost conspiratorial. Finally, as the momentum picked up, Jack mustered the courage to address the stranger. "What do you know about all of this? You clearly didn't just bring this envelope to drop off a message." The quirk of the stranger's lips betrayed a hint of a smile. "I was told there might be a chance." Their gaze flickered to the CEO and back to Jack. "You'll need more than just community support to navigate this." "What do you mean?" Jack asked, curiosity piqued, searching their expression. "Let us just say I have connections to the council that could tip the scales," the stranger revealed, voice barely above a whisper that a wave of possibility surged through Jack. But was it too good to be true? Just as questions began to swirl, the cafe door swung open again. This time, it was Dave, one of the town's council members, entering with a stern expression and a glance that spoke of trouble. "What are you all up to here?" he asked, his tone sharp as glass. Now, Jack felt the stakes rise higher than he could have imagined. Would this stranger truly have the power to turn the tide, or were they leading him into a trap? Jack took a deep breath, the weight on his shoulders growing heavier, yet a flicker of hope remained within him. "Let us find out," he said under his breath, preparing himself for the confrontation that awaited. Jack straightened as Dave stepped into the cafe, his presence cutting through the gathering tension like a hot knife through butter. The room quieted, all eyes shifting to the sharp-edged council member whose voice rolled out heavy with authority. Jack felt sweat prick at the back of his neck. This was the moment everything could change. "Dave," the CEO said, trying to inject calm into the storm brewing just beneath the surface. "We were just discussing some urgent matters regarding the park." Dave's sharp gaze darted from the CEO to Jack, settling on the envelope still clutched in Jack's hand. "Looks like someone's been busy," he remarked, his tone dripping with skepticism. "If you got something to say, I hope it's worth my time." Jack's heart raced. He had to play this right. "We found out about the council's plans to rezone the park," he said, his voice stronger than he felt. "And we want to let it happen without putting up a fight." Dave chuckled, a condescending sound that echoed through the cafe. "A fight? Against the council? That's cute." He leaned forward, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "You think your little group here can make waves? The decisions have already been made. Besides, you have no idea what you're up against." Jack felt the crowd tense, their faces a canvas of worry and indignation. He glanced at the stranger, who stood silently watching, eyebrows knitted together as if piecing together a puzzle. It was time to rally the troops. "You might think you have the upper hand," Jack pressed on, narrowing his eyes. "But we have our community behind us, and people who care. We're going to make our voices heard." You underestimate what can happen when people unite for a common cause. Cute speeches don't sway council votes, kid. Dave shot back, raising an eyebrow. You'll need more than just dreams to turn this around. With that, the cafe erupted into murmurs of discontent, and Mrs. Turner stepped forward. You don't get to decide our fate. We will fight tooth and nail to protect our park. Jack felt an overwhelming sense of warmth flood through him as people voiced their agreement. This was the heartbeat of their community, rich with conviction and resolve. He looked at the stranger again, who seemed lost in thought, their eyes flitting between Jack and the unfolding confrontation. Dave, the CEO, interjected, clearly annoyed. This is not a conversation you can brush aside. We have supporters here, and they deserve to be heard. Jack's heart thumped wildly in his chest. He could feel the energy building as they banded together, the cafe buzzing with newfound vigor. Maybe you should think about what that park means to people, he said, breathing out a steady stream of determination. It's not just land. It's a part of who we are. Dave crossed his arms. So what is your plan? Protests and petitions? You think that that's going to stop the council from doing what they VE planned? Jack hesitated, feeling pressure building around him. We'll find a way to make them listen, he vowed, injecting passion into every word. Bring in the media. Gather signatures will make it impossible for them to ignore us. Lost in emotions, Jack didn't notice the stranger slip closer until they were right next to him. Speaking just above a whisper, you need someone who knows the ins and outs of the council, and I can be that person. Their eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief, drawing Jack in. What are you suggesting? He asked, intrigued. I can arrange a meeting. Discreetly, they replied, glancing nervously at Dave. But you have to trust me. Just then, Dave cut in sharply. Trust is a luxury you can't afford, especially with someone as shady as them. Jack's stomach churned. Did he dare to take that leap of faith? And just as the tension peaked, the stranger's phone buzzed, a red light flashing ominously in the dim cafe. Hold that thought, they said, eyeing the screen. Jack felt his heart drop. What now? Was this the last chance at turning events in their favor? Do you really want to risk everything on an unknown? Dave questioned, a smirk dancing on his lips. The cafe suddenly felt too small. Why not? Jack answered, his voice steady despite the tremor of uncertainty in his gut. We can't afford not to try. And with that, all eyes turned back to the stranger, waiting for a decision to be made, holding their collective breath for what came next. The stranger glanced at the phone, their expression shifting from one of mischief to concern. Jack could feel the weight of everyone's gaze on them, buzzing with tension and anticipation like an eager crowd before a show. What were they waiting for? He leaned in closer, sensing their urgency. Look, we need to talk somewhere private, they said urgently, lowering their voice even further. I don't mean to rush you, but this could be crucial. Jack hesitated for a moment, glancing back at the group. He could see the flicker of determination in Mrs. Turner's eyes, the embers of rebellion glowing in the hearts of the regulars who frequented the cafe. They had come together to fight for something they all cherished. The park was more than just greenery. It was their history, their community. All right, he nodded, his mind racing. Let us step outside. He motioned for the others to stay, not wanting to leave them behind in the thrall of uncertainty. They needed to be united, even if he didn't fully trust the stranger just yet. The atmosphere shifted as he took the lead, pulling the door open and stepping out into the crisp evening air, the hum of the cafe fading behind him. The stranger followed, glancing over their shoulder as if wary of being overheard. I can't risk being seen associating with the group, they said, standing close to him in the shadow of the building, an odd contrast to the light filtering from inside. I have a connection, someone on the council who might be willing to help. Jack frowned. And why would they help us? Because they care about the community, just like you do, the stranger replied, urgency laced in their tone. But you have to promise me that this stays confidential until we know how to play it. If word gets out, it could ruin everything. He hesitated, caught between instinct and desire. Jack wanted to believe in the stranger's sincerity. What's your name? Zoe, they said, shifting their weight as if bracing for his reaction. Okay, Zoe, Jack breathed. Let us say I trust you. What is the plan? Zoe glanced around, ensuring they were alone. I'll leverage my connections, set up a meeting, but we need to have a solid plan in place strong enough to convince the council that we mean business. Like what? His mind jumped to the various strategies they had discussed back at the cafe, writing letters, starting petitions, creating buzz on social media. If we want this to work, we need to pull in every resource we have. Media, community organizations, even local influencers who care about the park, Zoe replied. And we need to time it all perfectly, so it hits hard and fast. Jack felt a rush of adrenaline. The gears in his mind started turning. They could do this. Maybe there was a way to turn the tide, to build a movement that would echo all the way into the council chambers. But how do we get the media on our side? He asked, brow furrowed. Zoe's face brightened slightly. I have a friend at the local paper. If we can give them a compelling story and the right angle, they'll be interested. Media coverage can ignite public support. Just as he was about to respond, a commotion erupted from within the cafe. Jack and Zoe exchanged worried looks and hurried back inside. Chaos had broken out, angry voices raised, hands gesturing wildly. Mrs. Turner stood at the center of the fray, her face a mask of anger. You can't silence us, she shouted at Dave, who was looking furious and defiant in equal measure. Jack's heart sank as he stepped into the tumult. He could feel the energy shift again, watching as hope and fear collided in the air around him. Everyone, please, he called out, try to regain control. Suddenly, Zoe slipped her hand into his, squeezing it gently, as if to ground him. This was more than just about a park now. It was about an entire community fighting for its identity. Jack, we need to act now, Zoe whispered, her voice barely audible over the chaos. He nodded, heart racing as he faced the crowd. Maybe the path forward would be rocky and uncertain, but they were standing on the edge of something bigger than they could have ever imagined. Let us show them what we're made of, Jack declared, and he met their gaze with determination. As a collective cheer arose from the crowd, one thing was clear. This fight was only just beginning. But then, from the back, a voice rang out. What if we fail? Silence fell over the group, and every head turned to Jack, the weight of that question heavier than ever. What if they really could lose everything? Jack took a breath, searching for words that would ignite their fire again. We won't know unless we try, he replied, feeling Zoe squeeze his hand in solidarity. As the crowd's energy started to swell once more, a decision churned in the air. Are we going to let them take our park? Jack challenged, rallying them once again. The answer was loud and clear. But just as the wave of support surged within the cafe, Jack sensed an unexpected ambush on the horizon. The tension in the air felt electric as Jack scanned the crowd, his heart hammering against his chest. They all seemed to hold their breath, anticipation hanging like a fog around them. The question lingered, almost painfully, what was coming next? Suddenly, the cafe door swung open with a bang, and in strode a tall figure, an unmistakable presence, wearing an expensive suit, dark hair slicked back, and eyes that drew the attention of everyone in the room. It was Victor Halpern, the billionaire CEO rumored to be at the center of the park's fate. His reputation for being ruthless preceded him, and Jack felt the nervous energy swell back into apprehension. Good evening, everyone, Victor boomed, his voice smooth but condescending. What a lovely gathering you have here. He stepped further into the cafe, looking completely unfazed by the atmosphere of chaos. Jack's instincts kicked in. This meeting, their fight, could be jeopardized. What do you want? Mrs. Turner snapped, her voice breaking through the murmurs of disbelief in the crowd. Victor smiled thinly, the corners of his mouth curving slightly, as if he relished their indignation. I'm here to listen. I thought you might appreciate the chance to hear my side of things. His gaze flickered toward Jack, and for a brief moment, the environment shifted. It was as though Jack could hear the unspoken challenge hanging in the air. Victor was threading a delicate line between threat and persuasion. We don't want to hear your excuses, Jack replied, stepping forward. We're standing together to protect what's ours. The park isn't just land. It's our home. Victor raised an eyebrow, surprised by Jack's bravery. Home? Interesting choice of words. He leaned back casually against the table, crossing his arms as he surveyed the group. But what happens when a home's walls begin to crumble? What if the park isn't sustainable anymore? His question hung in the air like a loaded gun, and Jack felt sharp breaths from the crowd, an uneasy reminder of how fragile their stand was. "We'll fight for it," Zoe said firmly from beside Jack, her hand still clasped in his. "Even if it means bringing the whole community together." Victor tilted his head. "Community? You think your voices will be heard above the din of finance and progress?" He chuckled. "I admire the passion, but you're swimming upstream." Jack, fueled by frustration, seized the moment. "We are not backing down. Not now, not ever." The words came out more forceful than he intended, driven by the palpable weight of hope and fear before him. He could see the flickers of encouragement in the eyes of his friends, the same fervor that had brought them all to this point. Victor's smile faded as he straightened, the mask dropping. "Well, then, let's see what you're willing to do." His voice lost its mockery and turned serious. "How about a wager? A contest to see who can gather the most support for their side? A campaign that ends with a public vote." Gasps echoed in the cafe as everyone processed what he was proposing. "What's the catch?" Jack asked, suspicion creeping into his tone. "No catch," Victor said, the corners of his mouth twitching as if he enjoyed the game he was playing. "Just a friendly competition to settle the fate of the park. If you win, I'll back off. If I win," he paused dramatically, "you relinquish any claim." The crowd murmured unease, worry evident on many faces. This was a gamble, a trap? The stakes felt impossibly high. Jack felt Zoe's grip tightening around his hand, urging him to think. "I say we take it," he said suddenly, feeling the adrenaline course through him. "We'll fight for what we believe in." He searched the eyes of the crowd, hoping to instill that defiant spirit within them. But just as a tentative cheer began to rise, Victor interjected, his tone steely. "Just remember, Jack, it's not just the council you need to win over. There will be powerful eyes watching your every move. And I want to play fair if you cross me." That last threatening reminder knotted in Jack's stomach, questions swirling in his mind. How deep did Victor's influence go? What were they truly up against? As the crowd wrestled with uncertainty, Jack felt the solid faith of those around him. They had to act fast, to build a strategy against the looming specter of defeat, and to truly understand the price of their dreams. With the stakes set, Jack faced Victor, both determination and anxiety coiling within him. "We're in. Game on." And as the cheers erupted again, a thought pierced through the excitement. This might just be the start of something far beyond their wildest imaginations. But would they be ready for everything it would entail? The cafe buzzed with nervous energy as the reality of Victor's wager soaked in. Jack stood at the center of it all, heart pounding and eyes darting between familiar faces. What had they just agreed to? "Okay, everyone," he called, his voice cutting through the chatter. "We need a plan. We can't let Victor intimidate us into silence." Zoe squeezed his hand, grounding him. "We need to focus on what makes the park special. We know its significance." She was right. Memories flooded Jack's mind, the lush trees and the laughter of children, summer picnics, and late-night bonfires. This park connected them all. Mrs. Turner stepped forward, her voice steady. "We should organize events. Bring people in. Make them see what this place means. Show them a love we have for it." Nods and murmurs of agreement spread through the cafe. Hope flickered like a candle flame, but Jack could feel the undercurrent of fear. Victor's warning echoed, louder than ever. "Let us kick things off with a community potluck next Saturday," Jack suggested, feeling bubbling excitement mixed with dread. "Everyone can bring their favorite dish. We'll invite everyone, not just our usual friends. We need to spread the word. We can set up booths with photos and stories from the park, too," Zoe added. "Let everyone share their memories." Jack's heart swelled at the thought. "Yes, and we'll create a social media campaign. Pictures, videos, hashtags, let us make a noise Victor can't ignore." Their plan took shape quickly, a vibrant tapestry woven from each person's idea. Laughter and passionate debates filled the cafe as they divided tasks, excitement lifting the mood. But deep down, Jack couldn't shake Victor's threat. What dark forces lay beneath the surface of this competition? As they wrapped up the meeting, Jack felt a warmth spread over him. For the first time since Victor's arrival, it seemed possible to turn the tide. Everyone left the cafe with a shared purpose, an electric charge in the air, and Jack felt buoyed by their combined strength. "Let us meet tomorrow to go over everything," he said to Zoe as they stepped outside. The night was crisp, and the stars twinkled against the deep blue sky. "Jack," she said, her brow furrowing slightly, "do you think we're ready for this? I mean, really ready?" A soft sigh escaped him. "I want to believe we are." But his voice trailed off. Could they truly be up against a man like Victor, who had limitless resources and connections? "Hey," Zoe reached up, resting her palm against his cheek. "We're stronger than we think. We believe in the park and each other. That's what counts." He smiled, though uncertainty tugged at him. "You're right. It's just I can't shake the feeling that this is more than just a fight for the park now." "What do you mean?" "I feel like we're stepping into a bigger battle than we imagined." Zoe's eyes shone with determination. "Then let us discover what that really means together." As they walked away, hands clasped tightly, Jack looked back at the cafe. The lights buzzed warmly against the night, a beacon of hope and challenge. Could they turn the tide? Could they rally the community? The next morning, as news of their potluck spread, Jack knew they'd just begun. But lurking in the back of his mind was a question that gnawed at him. What other challenges awaited them as they pushed forward? With every step, the thrill of possibility danced in the air, but Jack couldn't shake the impression that Victor wouldn't just sit idly by. As the sun rose on their new campaign, Jack felt the weight of what was truly at stake. And just before he turned away, a flash of silver caught his eye, the unmistakable glint of a luxury car pulling up. Was it just a chance encounter, or was Victor already watching their every move? The following morning unfolded with a sense of urgency. Jack awakened to the soft chirping of birds outside his window. He stretched, heart racing, as thoughts of the potluck flooded in. What if their efforts weren't enough? What if Victor's influence snuffed out their dreams before they had a chance to bloom? He shook off the doubt and jumped into the shower, the cold water jolting him awake. It was time to get moving. Today, they needed to push their initiative into high gear. As he dressed, he couldn't help but replay Mrs. Turner's speech from the cafe. It resonated in him, a call to arms, a reminder that this wasn't just about the park. It was about community. When Jack arrived at Zoe's house, the kitchen was alive with a warm aroma of pancakes. Zoe was whipping up breakfast, and when she saw him, she smiled brightly, the kind of smile that nudged away shadows. "Ready to take on the world today?" "More like ready to try and keep Victor from destroying everything we love," Jack said, trying to keep the mood light. Zoe grabbed a spatula and flipped a pancake. "Let us focus on our strengths. We have a community as hard on our side. We can make this happen." Jack took a deep breath. She was right. Fueled by pancakes, they headed out to meet with the others at the community center. The excitement in the air felt infectious. Friends greeted them with enthusiasm, bouncing ideas off one another and rallying to spread the word about the potluck. As they organized booths with stories and memories, Jack felt a swell of pride. This was their park, and he could see it connecting them an intricate web of shared laughter, history, and support. But just as things were falling into place, a familiar, cold presence cut through the warmth of their gathering. Victor sauntered in, clad in a perfectly tailored suit, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. Whispers rippled through the crowd, tension thickening the air. Jack felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "You really think this will work?" Victor's voice carried a mocking tone, his smirk dancing at the corners of his mouth. "A potluck? How quaint. You must believe that homemade cookies can save the park." Jack steeled himself, pushing through the wave of intimidation. "This isn't just about food, Victor. It's about community. It's South about what this place means to us." "Community?" Victor laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Jack's spine. "You're fighting against a machine. Save your breath, kid. You have no idea what you're up against." Zoe stepped forward, her voice steady. matching the fire in her eyes. "We'll show you what we're capable of." The heart of a community cannot be bought. Victor narrowed his eyes, pondering them for a quick moment. Then his gaze swept across the crowd, assessing. "Don't say I didn't warn you." With that, he turned, striding out of the center, the doors swinging closed behind him. Silence settled over the room like a dense fog. Jack felt the deflated energy, but he quickly rallied his strength. "We won't let that intimidate us. Let us double our efforts. We can do this. We have each other, and that S more than ELL ever have." Gradually, determination blossomed again. The group threw themselves into preparations, laughter filtering back through the doubts. Jack realized that despite fear's grip, they had forged something powerful together. But as the excitement surged anew, a voice echoed in Jack's mind. Was Victor only a distraction? Or was there something more sinister behind his ambition? That night, as they finished up their planning, Jack took a moment to step outside. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, but unease crept in, a shadow lurking just beyond the periphery. He scanned the streets, half expecting Victor to emerge again. Then, the quiet night broke with a deafening roar as the same silver luxury car pulled up again, lights flashing. This time, he felt a chilling certainty. Victor wouldn't just be a shadow on the sidelines. He would come for them. What did the next encounter have in store? Jack gripped his phone tightly, an idea igniting within him. Maybe it was time to confront the truth. But would he and Zoe be ready for what that truth unveiled? Jack stood frozen for a moment, the car's headlights bathing him in stark white light. His heart pounded against his chest like a drum. The world felt thick and heavy around him, the weight of uncertainty pressing down. He couldn't help but question himself. Was he really ready for this? Did he have the strength to stand up against someone like Victor? The car door swung open, and Victor emerged, the glint of the streetlight catching the edges of his expensive suit. He took a measured step forward, his cold gaze locking onto Jack. There was something predatory in his demeanor, like a shark sensing vulnerability in its prey. Jack felt a rush of adrenaline and stepped forward, intent on confronting the man who threatened everything they worked for. "Why are you here, Victor?" Jack demanded, his voice shaking yet firm. "What more do you want?" Victor chuckled darkly, his eyes narrowing. "I came to see how your little community effort was shaping up. But honestly, it looks like a complete waste of time." He surveyed the street, glancing back at the community center's warm glow. "You're playing a league far above your pay grade, kid." Clenching his fists, Jack fought against the fear bubbling inside him. "You think this is a game? You think you could just bulldoze over us? This park is our home, and we will fight to protect it." Victor's lips curved into a smile, but there was no warmth in it. "Ah, that fire is cute. But I'm not here to have a philosophical debate. I have resources power you can't even comprehend. Keep this up, and you'll find this community of yours torn apart, one way or another." Something inside Jack snapped. Maybe it was the fear for the community he loved, or perhaps it was the realization that they were fighting for something bigger than themselves. "We're not afraid of you. You may have money and influence, but you'll never break our spirit." Victor stepped closer, his voice dropping to a low, sinister tone. "You have no idea what I'm capable of. I want to just tear it apart sky high, Jack. I'll burn it to the ground." He leaned in, eyes glinting like shards of ice. "You really think you can outsmart a billionaire?" With a surge of resolve, Jack replied, "Maybe I don't have the kind of money you do, but I have something far more valuable. This community sticks together. That's worth fighting for." Victor straightened up, his amusement flickering for just a moment. "Delusions of grandeur, how quaint. But remember this, Jack. When the stakes are high, people unveil their true colors." He turned, sauntering back to his car. "Good luck. You'll need it." As the car's engine roared to life, Jack felt a wave of mixed emotions wash over him. Fear, anger. Something ignited within him, a burning determination. He wouldn't let Victor's taunts dim the light of what they were building. He returned to the community center, the chatter and laughter lifting his spirits like the buoyancy of a summer breeze. Zoe was there, her face lighting up as soon as he entered. "Jack, you okay?" You look like you've seen a ghost. Now I've seen a monster, he replied, shaking out the tension in his shoulders. But it also made me realize one thing: we have to do something bold. Something that says we one tea back down. Zoe narrowed her eyes, curiosity brewing. What are you thinking? The potluck isn't just a gathering anymore. It's our declaration. We need to get everyone together and make it clear we won't be intimidated. We need to rally the entire community like never before. Let us turn this event into a movement. Zoe beamed with excitement. Yes, we can do it. Let us spread the word and let Victor know he can't crush our spirit. As plans started to bubble to the surface, Jack felt the energy shift. A collective fire ignited in the air. The community wasn't just coming together. They were rising up. But as they poured their hearts into preparation, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that Victor had something up his sleeve. Was this just the calm before a storm? What is the next battle they would face? With the clock ticking down until the potluck, time was running out. For both sides, did they have enough strength to withstand the oncoming wave? The day of the potluck arrived, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Jack stood at the cafe, watching families bring in steaming dishes and colorful platters. The scents mingled, a warm concoction of spices, sweets, and savory dishes, comforting like a hug. With each dish set upon the tables, he felt a surge of pride for the connections they forged. Yet, somewhere beneath that pride, wires of anxiety crackled. He could still recall Victor's threat and the weight of his smirk. Despite the warmth of the gathering, a storm loomed that could sweep it all away. Zoe found him leaning against the counter, watching the joyful chaos unfold. "You're deep in thought," she said, handing him a paper cup filled with steaming coffee. "What has got you so worried?" "Victor," Jack admitted, taking a sip and feeling the heat spread inside him. "What if he tries to sabotage this? What if it's not enough?" "Stop," Zoe urged, tilting her head. "We're strong. Look around. This is a community fighting for what's right." She gestured widely, taking in the bustling crowd. "We'll make sure they hear our voices, not just tonight, but every day until they know we are serious about saving our park." With a shared resolve, they moved through the crowd, honoring every laugh and every exchange. Families mingled, stories were swapped like treasures, and hope blossomed with every passing moment. They set up a booth filled with photos and memories of the park's snapshots of weddings, picnics, and children with ice cream smeared across their faces. As the sun dipped low, casting golden rays across the gathering, someone cleared their throat, drawing everyone's attention. Mrs. Turner stood on a chair, her hands raised high like a commander preparing for victory. "I want to thank you all for being here," she shouted above the crowd. The energy shifted, and even Jack could feel all eyes turning, awaiting her next words. "This park isn't just grass and trees. It's where we built our community." Cheers erupted. Jack felt a swell of pride, realizing this was more than just a meeting. This was a declaration of love, of unity. Suddenly, from the edge of the crowd, Victor appeared, cutting through the joy like a raven in the sky. "A lovely gathering," he boomed, arms crossed over his chest, that familiar smirk returning. But all this sentiment changed the inevitable. An uneasy murmur swept through the crowd, but Jack stepped forward, adrenaline surging. "You're wrong, Victor. This isn't just about sentiment. It's about our community standing united. What is your plan? Throw more potlucks? Sing songs?" He chuckled condescendingly, the disdain lacing his voice. "You think laughter will deter a proper business?" "No," Jack replied firmly, voice steady. "But it will make you hear us. It will spread the message far and wide that you don't own this community." Victor's posture shifted, surprise flickering across his face. "Is that your strategy? A few heartfelt speeches and baked goods?" Jack felt the tension in the air thicken, but the words came pouring out with conviction. "It's more than that. We're starting a movement. We won't stop until we've shown everyone, including you, how much this park means to all of us." The crowd erupted with passionate applause, fueled by Jack's words. "Is that so?" Victor leaned back, arms wide, as if feeding off their energy. They'll make sure everyone sees how easily you can fall. With one last disdainful glare, he turned and vanished into the darkness, leaving whispers behind, rippling through the gathering. With Victor gone, energy shifted back to Joy. Zoe lent her hand to Jack's arm, a look of encouragement flashing between them. "We can't back down," she said, "but maybe it's time we start thinking ahead, start getting more backing from the community before it's too late." "I agree," Jack nodded, feeling the weight lift on his shoulders ever so slightly. "Let us plan something bolder, something he wanted to ignore." Together, they rallied their friends, looking for local businesses and restaurants that might help support their cause. The enthusiasm was infectious and won by one. People stepped forward with ideas, social media campaigns, local news coverage, even petition drives to rally public support. As the night drew to a close, Jack stood at the heart of the cafe, looking down at the camaraderie thriving before him. Every smile, every laugh filled him with warmth. The community had come together stronger than ever. In that moment, he realized something. They were no longer just a voice in a sea of discontent. They were warriors for their beloved park and the home they cherished. Just before leaving, they gathered for a group photo. Everyone huddled close, smiles illuminated by the warm lights. The camera clicked, capturing a moment, the essence of their unity, a reminder of what matters most. With the potluck behind them and determination growing day by day, Jack felt the adrenaline of hope pulse through him. They were ready, and they wouldn't back down. As he stepped outside, a cool breeze brushed against his face. He looked up at the stars, feeling the electric charge of possibility in the air. They were ready to take a stand, and no matter how Victor tried to thwart them, together they would rise. "Tomorrow, we'll hit the ground running," Jack declared, determination firm in his voice. "We want to just save the park. We'll show the world how powerful a community can be." With a heart full of hope, he turned and walked back inside, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The fight was only just beginning. But Jack knew even in shadow, the light of community could illuminate the darkest path. Now, you must join our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let your voice be heard. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative journey. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share.